Hello everyone and welcome to this week's edition of a slice of history with the Butterfly Princess. This week I'm reading you an article from the March 2025 edition of the BBC History magazine. This is called, the article is called 5 Shocking Tales from Britain's Royal Palaces, and it's been written by historian Kate Williams. Bear with me a minute. Kate Williams, who is a British historian. She is also an author, broadcaster, and professor of public engagement with history at the University of Reading. And the makers of BBC History magazine also have a website called BBC History Extra, where you can get loads of video content, podcast content, articles and everything on the website. It's an app as well. And if you're a subscriber to the BBC History magazine, you are entitled to free access. Now, they recently, the makers of BBC History magazine recently launched a platform called the History Extra Academy. This is where a number of leading experts teach on courses about various subjects. So there's one on Victorian Britain taught by Ruth Goodman. There's one on World War II taught by Alex Churchill. There's one on the Elizabethan England taught by Tracy Borman. And there's one about the rise of the Nazi regime taught by Lawrence Rees. Now, Kate Williams is also a tutor of one of these courses, and this course is entitled Secrets of Britain's Royal Palaces. Now, I think that's got 5 or 6 episodes where you can access that. It's the History Extra Academy is a really good resource. I've not personally listened to this course on the History Extra Academy yet, but I have listened to a number of quite a few of the courses. I listened to the one on Victorian Britain, and I also listened to the one on the rise of the Nazi regime, and they're all very interesting. All the experts bring in a wealth of experience and expertise. So that is a bit about the History Extra website, the app, and the History Extra Academy. Now I'm going to read you this article that has been written by Kate Williams. So here goes. 5 Shocking Tales from Britain's Royal Palaces. Royal residences have been a hotbed of drama, violence and intrigue down the centuries. As Kate Williams reveals, 1. Deadly deeds in the dead of night. On the night of the 31st of May 1810, residents of St James's Palace were awakened to the spine-tingling shriek of I am murdered. The cry emanated from none other than the Duke of Cumberland, 5th son of George III, and what happened next would spark national scandal. It's little wonder that the Duke feared for this life. He had woken up to being hit over the head by a mysterious assailant. The Duke set off across the palace to investigate and found his villain Joseph Sales dead in his room, his throat cut. what on earth had happened. An inquest declared Sellers had tried to kill the Duke and then turned the blade on himself, but the public wasn't so sure. In 1832, a book declared that the Duke had murdered Sellers to silence him, including blackmail and adultery. Alarmingly for Cumberland, plenty of people agreed. They didn't believe that the Duke, one of the most unpopular royals in history, could possibly be innocent. 2. James VI, devilish obsession. In 1590, Holyrood Palace was the scene of a fateful meeting between James VI James VI of Scotland and a local midwife, Agnes Sampson. The king wanted to find out if Sampson was a witch, and if she had tried to sink his ships as they sailed home to Scotland from Denmark. Sampson denied all charges, but after she was taken away and tortured, she said that she had met the devil and took him for her master and attended a witch's sabbath. The king, who would later write his own witch-hunting guide, interrogated her again. This time, Sampson told James that she knew what he had said to his wife on his wedding night. He promptly ordered Sampson's death. Palaces were often dangerous places for women. A generation before, James's own mother, Mary Queen of Scots, had been kidnapped at Holyrood while dining with friends and her secretary, David Rizzo. A group of lords seized Rizzo and fatally stabbed him before imprisoning Mary, who was heavily pregnant, at the palace in order to depose her. But then her second husband, Lord Darnley, who had a hand in the plot, changed his mind and freed her. Within a year of the birth of James, Darnley died in Edinburgh, apparently smothered while his house was blown up. Holyrood resounded to the explosion. Yeah. 3. A taste of corpse medicine. Fascinated by science, King Charles II had a laboratory of potions and bottles built at Whitehall Palace. One of his quests was to find the secret to long life, and he decided the answer was skull medicine, a practice known across Europe. It required taking a human skull from someone who had died a violent and surprising death, then grinding it down and mixing it with ingredients such as hearts and the skull's drops. The drops didn't save him. King Charles II died at his beloved Whitehall at the age of 54 after suddenly falling ill. Apologising for being time dying, the palace constructed as Henry VIII's palace is all lost now, built over by the government. The modern-day cabinet office is the site of Henry VIII's cockfighting ring. 4. Anne Boleyn sails into danger. It was a beautiful present, but it would have terrible consequences. Henry VIII fell in love with Anne Boleyn in 1526 and besieged her with letters. She took refuge at her childhood home, Hever Castle, while the king begged her. What Anne did next would set her on an impossible course. Anne decided to send Henry a new gift for 1527. She chose a jewelled trinket of a ship featuring in the words of Henry himself, a costly diamond, and the figure of a solitary damsel tossed about on the sea. The king interpreted the gift as a big yes, and embarked on a mission to make Anne's queen. It ended with her execution at the Tower of London, the most famous of all imprisoned queens. Perhaps to Anne, the gift didn't only represent her submission to Henry's rescuer, the lonely damsel, but was a hint that she thought she might drown. And finally, 5. When Edward the IX stole his own crown. Palaces surely have more lost property than the London Underground. When the Prince Regent staged a giant party at Carlton House in 1811, there was such a crush that 2 women had dresses torn from their backs and 40 pairs of shoes were found in the hall. Some years later, the Duchess of Abercombe lost their biggest pearl in the world, locked in a sofa in Windsor Castle. Luckily, it was found again and later owned by Elizabeth Taylor, the actress who also nearly lost it. Perhaps the greatest object ever lost in a palace is a crown. When Edward VIII abdicated at Windsor in 1936, when Edward VIII abdicated in Windsor in 1836, he made off with royal items, including the Prince of Wales coronet, which wasn't returned to the country until Edward's death in 1972. That meant that our current King Charles had to have a coronet specially made for his initiative as Prince of Wales in 1969. A TV spectacular at Cromworth Castle. This coronet is topped with a golden globe to represent the world. The 1969 viewers might have been surprised to learn that the globe is actually a gold-plated ping pong ball. And if you want to know more royal secrets about royal palaces, then I strongly recommend that you watch that series taught by Kate Williams on the History Extra Academy. So that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that now concludes this week's edition of a slice of history with the Butterfly Princess. Thank you for tuning in, and I very much hope you can join me next week for next week's instalment. But until then, have a lovely rest of your week. Take care, and I will see you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye.